There is something in my house.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for some deep-cut 80s bangers that are just a wee bit more obscure.
I was born the son of a lawless man.
Number 30, Valley of the Kings, Blue Murder. It's a misconception that 1980s arena rock and heavy metal went out of fashion during the following decade. Many artists from these genres enjoyed chart success around this time, including Blue Murder.
There is no way out. There can be no doubt.
That said, the success of tracks like Billy and Jelly Roll didn't exactly achieve the Billboard numbers they hoped by their record label, and Blue Murder's self-titled debut fell into if you know territory.
No way out of this place. You gotta walk until it's over.
Yet all this means really is that fans can rediscover heavies like Valley of the Kings, which makes the most out of John Sykes' generational guitar playing. The ex-Thin Lizzy Man joined together with Vanilla Fudge's Carmine Appice and session bass legend Tony Franklin to deliver an epic pounding groove with Valley of the Kings, and we definitely appreciate the effort.
Feel a kiss on the wind. Feel the blood in the sand.
Number 29, Don't Fall, The Chameleons UK. The world of 1980s post-punk, goth, and indie rock can be a treasure trove of undiscovered classics. The Chameleons UK, known simply as the Chameleons outside of North America, were one of those hidden gems, a reverb-soaked journey into evocative musical excellence. Don't Fall actually wasn't officially released as a single from the Chameleons' debut LP, Script of the Bridge, but this doesn't really matter in the end. The album's strength as one cohesive piece basically ensures that the catchy yet moody atmosphere of Don't Fall feels right in line with other album cuts like Up the Down Escalator. Consider this one to be highly recommended if artists like The Cure and My Bloody Valentine are up your alley. Number 28, Contagious, Y&T. The history of California's Y&T stretches to their origins as Yesterday and Today back in the 1970s. The band's success also progressed into the 90s with jams such as Don't Be Afraid of the Dark. However, Contagious saw Y&T in full hair metal mode. This shift from riff-heavy arena rock served the band well, with an economically composed anthem with a chorus that's both punchy and immediate. Y&T's frontman Dave Meniketti possesses a strong bit of grit to his voice, and the whoa-ohs of the chorus feel ripped from the Bon Jovi playbook. Meanwhile, the video to Contagious is the sort of 80s cheese that will forever make us yearn for this. Let's go with Simpler Time. Number 27, Break the Ice, John Farnham. The 1986 film Rad is one of those cult classic films that is largely being rediscovered today, decades after flopping at the box office. Its ultra 80s soundtrack likely has something to do with this retro appreciation too, thanks to bangers like Break the Ice by John Farnham.
Frozen in silence, facing it alone.
The British-Australian singer actually contributed a few songs to this OST, including the epic Thunder in Your Heart. Yet it's that super processed and epic-sounding production to Break the Ice that makes the perfect musical accompaniment to Rad's tale of bitchin' BMX.
So I'm giving you all I've got. I'm gonna make it through this night.
Of course, the complete lack of irony also makes Break the Ice tailor-made to serve as both the main theme and suitably stirring montage music.
Get ready
Number 26, Danger Calling. Icon. The Night of Crime album by Icon is one of the best melodic rock albums you've never heard.
No running, no turning back. I made the first step.
The Phoenix, Arizona-based group started out with a heavier sound before taking a more polished direction for album number 2.
Danger calling out my name. Danger calling, stop this game.
Danger Calling is a prime example of how Icon's collaboration with noted songwriter Bob Halligan Jr. produced some quality fruit. The latter's influence streamlined Icon's compositional chops and honed them to a razor's edge.
I feel it in my heart. It's gonna be danger calling.
Meanwhile, other anthems like Take Another Shot at My Heart were purely written by the band, proving just how much talent was present within Icon's musical core.
Take another shot at my heart.
Number 25, Send Me an Angel. Real Life. Yep, we're actually highlighting another song from the Rad soundtrack here.
You believe in heaven above. You believe in love.
But Send Me an Angel by Real Life wasn't simply content to sit on only one film OST. This 1983 single also appeared on the soundtracks to both Teen Wolf 2 and The Wizard, which speaks to the song's popularity and longevity.
If a girl walks in and calls her name in my heart, I'll turn and run away.
What can we say? Send Me an Angel just sounds like the 1980s, distilled to a perfect musical essence. It's catchy and melodic, yet wistful and slightly melancholic.
You're looking for love, calling heaven above.
David Sterry's lead vocals in particular shine on that outstanding chorus, leaning into a romanticism that absolutely spoke to a cinematic generation.
Send me an angel right now.
Number 24, This Corrosion. The Sisters of Mercy. Whoever said that goth music needed to be dour and depressing all of the time clearly never rocked out to the Sisters of Mercy. This Corrosion was actually produced by frequent Meatloaf collaborator Jib Steinman, and it shows. This is epic and ultra-dramatic rock with pomp, circumstance, and swagger. You want soaring choirs? This Corrosion has got them. A danceable beat? Hey now. Andrew Eldritch and the Sisters have you covered. Plus, the album version of This Corrosion stretches on to an impressive 11 plus minutes in length, providing just about all of the hyper-stylized post-apocalyptic goth jams one could ever need. Number 23, Over the Hills and Far Away. Gary Moore. The career of Gary Moore, from sideman to solo career, reads like a laundry list of musical riches.
We came for him one winter's night. Arrested, he was bound.
While Out in the Fields was a hit for Moore and former Thin Lizzy bandmate Phil Lynott, Over the Hills and Far Away also takes from Lizzy's notably narrative-driven tunes to create a story song that was unequivocally Moore's.
They marched him to the station house. He waited till the dawn.
Influences from Celtic folk are enhanced by the appearance of Ireland's The Chieftains on the tune, while Moore's searing guitar work peppers the heavier sections.
He had to fight back tears of rage. His heart beat like a drum.
Over the Hills and Far Away was more of a success in Europe than in North America, but we feel like it remains a defining tune from Gary Moore's impressive discography. Number 22, That Girl. FM. Call it album-oriented rock, adult-oriented rock, or simply AOR. That Girl from FM possesses melody for days.
When the world chases turn our lives,
This British band has carved a career of eschewing blunt heaviness in favor of a more textured and refined approach to hard rock songwriting.
When you hear a calling out your name, things about you grab without you.
Lead singer Steve Overland possesses a soaring voice that drives home the money chorus of That Girl. Meanwhile, the insanely polished production only adds to how the song's arrangements feel both hooky and smooth. That Girl was even semi-covered and adapted by metal legends Iron Maiden for a B-side. If that isn't a stamp of songwriting approval, then we don't know what is. Number 21, The Killing Moon, Echo and the Bunnymen. Perhaps we can thank 2001's Donnie Darko for raising the public profile of The Killing Moon by Echo and the Bunnymen.
Under a blue moon I saw you, so soon you'll take me.
It was the inclusion of this fantastic tune on that film's soundtrack that helped remind fans how great this English rock band was back in their day.
In the starlit nights I saw you, so cruelly you kissed me.
It's difficult to pigeonhole The Killing Moon, and this is a very good thing. The song's mood feels dark like the best goth. The prominent bass and cavernous production lends The Killing Moon an atmosphere all its own. Yet Echo and the Bunnymen never sound like they're following any tread path.
Fate up against your will.
Instead, this song blazes a unique trail, and we absolutely love it for this fact. Number 20, Only Lonely, Bon Jovi. Bon Jovi may be a multi-platinum selling rock act, but that doesn't mean they don't possess some serious deep cuts in their back catalog.
Another long and sleepless night. You need someone to hold you tight.
Only Lonely is taken from the band's sophomore effort, 7800 Degrees Fahrenheit, which was a more experimental and artistic take on Bon Jovi's melodic rock. Here, the anthemic hooks of Bon Jovi's self-titled debut are tempered with sleek and synthesized sound. While the accompanying music video feels like a mini-movie, the chorus is to die for, as well as a desperate-sounding and emotionally charged performance from Bon Jovi that ranks among his very best. We're saying it right here and now. Don't sleep on Only Lonely. Number 19, Self-Control, Laura Branigan. The original version of Self-Control was an Italo disco song released by singer Roth in 1984. But it's Laura Branigan's cover of the tune from that same year that's arguably endured to the modern day.
No control through the wall. Something breaking.
The song is steeped in a massive-sounding 1980s production, yet Branigan's vocals never get lost in the mix. Instead, her powerful delivery shines through, as booming synths and hot guitar licks complement the song's danceable beats.
I'm living in the forest of a dream. I know the night is not the same.
Self-Control is hooky as hell, from that infectious chorus to each groovy verse. Oh, and that music video? Pure 80s excellence, y'all. Number 18, Dead Man's Party, Oingo Boingo. Danny Elfman may be best known today for his wonderful film scores, but old school 80s kids know full well how dope Oingo Boingo was back in the day.
All this stuff, won't it go? Walking with the dead man over my shoulder.
Dead Man's Party is perhaps one of the group's catchiest tunes, and appeared on the soundtrack for the Rodney Dangerfield film Back to School back in 1986. The song possesses a vibe all its own, with throbbing bass, cool lyrics, and Elfman's soaring, enchanting vocals.
It's a dead man's party. Who could ask for more?
Dead Man's Party may be finally getting its due these days on some Halloween mixes from the cooler kids you know, but will always cop to being fans of this one-of-a-kind group. Number 17, Message of Love, The Pretenders. Is there any pop act more representative of the 1980s than The Pretenders? Maybe, but we highly doubt they have a front person as terminally cool as Chrissy freaking Hine.
When love walks in the room, everybody stand up.
Message of Love possesses a vibe that's simultaneously current and retro. A 50s throwback visually, but a new wave classic back in its day. Hine's vocals are intentionally minimalistic and disinterested, almost a precursor to some of the things Sheryl Crow would do on her debut album in the 90s. Message of Love is melodic and deceptively well written, incorporating multiple moods that feel ahead of their time in terms of structure and efficiency.
Talk to me, darling, with a message of love.
Number 16, Run With Us, Lisa Lougheed. If you were a kid living in Canada during the 1980s, then it's highly likely that you loved watching the raccoons on TV. It's also likely that you loved its theme song, Run With Us by Lisa Lougheed. And we're right there with you.
When darkness falls, leaving shadows in the night.
There's something emotionally resonant about the song that we can't quite explain. Lougheed's vocals are powerful, but also possess a palpable energy that just drives home that million-dollar chorus. Run With Us boasts a compelling synth beat, some high-energy guitar licks, and some gothic backing atmosphere that are unlike anything else from the time.
Run with us. We got everything you need. Run with us.
It takes us back to youthful innocence every time we hear it. Number 15, A Mission in Life, Stan Ridgway. You may not know the name Stan Ridgway, but fans with their ears to the ground back in the 1980s can probably recall his old band, Wall of Voodoo. That group possessed its own quirky 80s history with their hit Mexican Radio, but this solo cut from Ridgway is comparatively more confessional and down to earth.
I don't run a business just to talk to you all day.
The vibe feels more Billy Joel than new wave weirdness, but that isn't a bad thing. The backing instrumentation is particularly evocative and showcases Ridgway's unique vocals in a wonderful way. The production is also thick and layered, in that way only 80s records could be.
You got a mission in life to hold out your hand.
It's a deep cut that we highly recommend. Number 14, Wings of the Storm, Whitesnake. You'd be forgiven for ignoring Wings of the Storm by Whitesnake, since it was conveniently tucked away at the end of their 1989 album, Slip of the Tongue.
Fire and water, ice and snow, heaven above us and hell below.
If you did do that, however, then you'd be missing out on what's perhaps the glam metal band's fastest and most aggressive moment. Whitesnake's bluesy history from the 1970s is all but forgotten, as Wings of the Storm rips out of the gate with a startling amount of speed. It never lets up on the gas either, as Steve Vai's fretboard is practically set alight, as the guitarist lets it rip with fiery licks. David Coverdale, for his part, stretches his vocal cords to the heavens, proving Whitesnake's metallic might without a shadow of doubt. Number 13, 80s, Killing Joke. We realize that having a song simply titled 80s on this list may seem lazy, but this English group was anything but complacent. Killing Joke was a remarkably prescient and forward-thinking band for their time, serving as influences for many other groups in their wake. Nirvana was absolutely one of those bands, to the point where the latter's Come As You Are has been accused of stealing the main riff from 80s. Do you hear it? We admit that it's close, but we also admire Killing Joke's cutting, almost industrial guitar tone and martial approach to delivering their rhythms. Is it post-punk? Alternative? New wave? We're not sure. But what we do know is that 80s is killer. Number 12, But Not Tonight, Depeche Mode. The discography of Depeche Mode is chock full of bangers, but 1986's Black Celebration just has to count among the band's best.
The stars in the sky bring tears to my eyes.
But Not Tonight is perhaps a lesser-known track from that album, however, because it possesses a more upbeat feeling to its melodies. Black Celebration is fairly dark on the whole, and But Not Tonight breaks things up nicely with a sound that harkens back to Depeche Mode's more minimalistic work.
My eyes have been so red, I've been mistaken for dead, but not tonight.
The electronic framework is cold, but Dave Gaughan's vocals are red hot, and But Not Tonight is made all the better for that fact. Number 11, Don't Pay the Ferryman, Chris de Burgh. What's the first song you think of when the name Chris de Burgh comes up in conversation? Most of us would probably list his hit 1986 ballad, Lady in Red, for obvious reasons.
Lady in red is dancing with me.
Don't Pay the Ferryman from 1982 couldn't sound any more removed from that hit, however. An energetic art rock song for the ages. The production is polished to a silvery sheen, and Don't Pay the Ferryman is written with electricity to spare.
And when the rain came down, he heard a wild long howl.
De Burgh's vocals are evocative and in control, detailing the song's mythological and Shakespearean origins with a palpable power. As a result, Don't Pay the Ferryman practically begs for repeated spins.
Don't pay the ferryman. Don't even think same price. Don't pay the ferryman.
Number 10, When I'm Gone, Albert Hammond. A double-edged sword about professional songwriting is how one can remain almost completely anonymous while also having a profound effect upon millions of music fans.
When I'm gone, will you take out all the photographs?
Albert Hammond was one of those people. A prolific composer who wrote hits for others but seemed to eschew personal fame when it came down to his own career. When I'm Gone practically begs for the listener to do some deep digging into Hammond's career, however, thanks to this song's confessional nature and emotional viability.
Love will bring you back to me.
The song feels tailor-made to connect with its audience. A beautifully melancholic song that boasts a fantastic production, one that perfectly highlights Hammond's voice. When I'm Gone is a hidden gem that deserves all the flowers. Number 9, No Easy Way Out, Robert Tepper. You just know it when you hear it. Call it montage music or training music. It's those songs that show up in movies when times are tough and demand that the heroes step up their game.
I think it's unbelievable how you give into the hands of fate.
For Sylvester Stallone in Rocky IV, that song was No Easy Way Out by Robert Tepper, and it's an absolute masterclass.
We're not indestructible. Baby, better get that straight. I think it's unbelievable how you give into the hands of fate.
Tepper is without a shred of irony as his vocal performance goes for broke with a sincere amount of power and passion. It's such a barn burner that the accompanying instrumentation almost feels like an afterthought. But pay attention, there are some amazing melodic choices here.
There's no easy way out. There's no shortcut home.
No Easy Way Out makes us feel like world champions every day. Number 8, Age of Consent, New Order. New Order rose from the ashes of Joy Division, a trailblazing voice in the burgeoning post-punk and early alternative rock movements. That band's purposefully minimalistic style was opened up and brightened up a bit with New Order, however, influencing an entire generation of goth rock fans in the process.
I saw you this morning and thought that you might like to know.
Age of Consent is taken from New Order's sophomore effort, Power, Corruption, and Lies, and immediately strikes as something special. The reverberating guitar chords and echoed production are evocative as hell, while Bernard Sumner's vocals float atop it all with personality and style.
I'm not the kind that likes to tell you just what I want to do.
Trust us, if you dig The Cure, The Smiths, or Depeche Mode, then check this one out. Number 7. Cambodia, Kim Wilde. If you only know the career of Kim Wilde from her early hit Kids in America, then might we suggest the singer's more experimental sophomore effort, Select. This 1982 album was marked by a pronounced atmosphere of experimentation and even slight menace, as evidenced by this single, Cambodia.
But then he turned around and he began to change. She didn't wonder then, she didn't think it strange.
The song is dark and mysterious, a layered synth-pop song that feels delivered from outer space, yet anchored by Wilde's gorgeous, otherworldly voice. View from a Bridge is another great song from Select, but there's only one Cambodia, and once you hear it, we doubt you'll forget it.
But there is only one thing left, I know for sure. She will see his face again.
Number 6. It's a Sin, Pet Shop Boys. Isn't it funny how songs tend to take on lives of their own? The Pet Shop Boys' Neil Tennant told the Daily Dish in 2019 how he originally wrote It's a Sin without much thought as to how seriously it would be taken by the group's fans.
For everything I long to do, no matter when or where or who.
The song was initially conceived during Tennant's reflection about his Catholic school upbringing, but many fans today have internalized the song's themes of oppression and shame and frequently interpret them as cathartic. Tennant also interestingly compared It's a Sin and the Pet Shop Boys' high-energy music to heavy metal. And you know what? We totally hear it. It's a Sin rocks. Plain and simple. Number 5. Dancing with Tears in My Eyes, Ultravox. That title may sound extravagant because it is, but that's just part and parcel for Ultravox's deeply romantic new wave sound. The British group formed in the 70s but saw their greatest success in the 80s, thanks to gems like Him and The Voice. Dancing with Tears in My Eyes highlights how Midge Ure's lead vocals truly take Ultravox to another level, as he soars above the song's synthesized 80s beat with a stately grandeur. This is 80s pop at its most melodramatic, but also some of its most melodically satisfying. The songwriting is impeccable, the chorus wonderful, and the execution note perfect. Check out Ultravox. You won't be disappointed. Number 4. Ride Like the Wind, Christopher Cross. Christopher Cross's debut album may have dropped for Christmas of 1979, but this first single thankfully fits our criteria, having been released in February of the following year. If we're being honest though, any time is a great time to rock Ride Like the Wind.
I've got to ride like the wind to be free again.
This isn't only due to the spectacular songwriting displayed by Cross, but also those amazing backing vocals from Michael McDonald. The former Doobie Brother assists Cross in a way only he can, smoothing over Ride Like the Wind with his velvety voice and creating pure musical heaven in the process.
And I've got such a long way to go. Make it to the border of Mexico.
Number 3. Wild Wild West, The Escape Club. The story of the Escape Club is a funny one, since this British export actually didn't do too well in their homeland. Wild Wild West was a hit in the US, however, and we totally see why, because the song feels like a movie montage scene come to life.
Sitting in a back room, waiting for the big boom. I'm in a bedroom, waiting for my baby.
This isn't a slight whatsoever, mind you, because we admire the Escape Club's dedication to unabashed, sugar-coated pop. Wild Wild West is an earworm that sounds indebted to Duran Duran, with an approach that's weird and nearly impossible to categorize. It's funky with a little rock for good measure, and catchy as hell.
Heading for the 90s, living in the wild, wild west.
Number 2. Kaylee, Marillion. It may seem improbable that a 1980s prog rock band could go on to influence the proliferation of an actual forename in their native UK. But truth is indeed stranger than fiction.
Katie, is it too late to say I'm sorry? And Katie, can we get it together again?
The early career of Marillion was largely indebted to the sound of 70s Genesis, but Kaylee was an unadulterated pop hit from a group known for crafting 10-minute-plus epics. Lead singer Fish emotes with abandon, while the chorus and delay-drenched guitar of Steve Rothery creates that insanely catchy opening lick. It's beautiful and bittersweet, a true gem deserving of discovery by anyone who assumed prog simply died in the 70s. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. The sun always shines on TV. Aha. Norway's Aha will probably always be best known for their smash international single, Take On Me. However, there's also a lot of other musical gold to be mined for fans seeking out more great music. The band's theme to the James Bond film The Living Daylights was a franchise highlight, but The Sun Always Shines on TV may just be Aha's secret weapon. Morten Harket delivers a vocal performance that rivals even his watershed moments on Take On Me, while also proving that Aha was no one-hit wonder. The Sun Always Shines on TV is expertly composed and magnificently executed, a slice of absolute pop rock perfection. What's your favorite deep cut or album track from a favorite band? Let us know in the comments. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.